Welcome everyone, Ask the Expert. And you know, this segment was started because I start receiving questions and it's easy to go and Google it and start talking about things that I don't know. But they say you always met someone who knows something that you don't know. And that's how Ask the Expert was born. Now, if I tell you Coca-Cola, I tell you Google, Facebook, you know what I'm talking about. But what most people don't know is when I says Susan Ivitz or I says human behavior hacker, some people can maybe know what I'm talking about, but that's called branding. People need to brand themselves. And when you learn to brand yourself, the second step is make people be aware of you. Make journalists open your emails when you want to be pitched on the media. Well, I have news for you. We found a perfect expert to answer our question. Susan Yang, thank you for being an Ask the Expert.
Oh, I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you, Susan.
Well, what is personal branding and how you become an expert in this field?
Well, my background isn't actually in radio news. I was an on-air news anchor and a reporter for 10 years. I've interviewed everybody from homeless people to presidents, and also worked in the governor of New Jersey at the Office of Radio and TV and for a nonprofit. So 19 years ago, I started my company based on the fact that I had been in the newsroom trenches and I understood what reporters wanted and what was newsworthy and how to capture the essence of a good story. And that's where the disconnect is that people didn't know that. Business people, professionals, nonprofit leaders, entrepreneurs. So that's what I share with folks now, for all these years is how to get the attention of reporters and become a trusted resource.
Talking about attention of reporters, I've been really lucky. I need to say, I don't know if I get, again, I think I have a lot of luck and a lot of good friends who help me with brainstorming. But when I was looking for my own title, like, I don't want to put, then I'm a coach, I'm a trainer, everybody do the same. And a friend says, well, what you do is you hack humans. You're like a hacker, like, oh, human behavior hacker. So when I send an email to media or the people in teams send my email to the media to be posted out there, it's like, have you ever met a human behavior hacker? And we have really good response. But most people who has maybe traditional titles or they want to try to start being pitching on the media because it says, if you don't have your 15 minutes of fame, you're nobody out there. You can be amazing, but it's the tip of the iceberg. You need to make yourself known out there. How you make, Susan, media and people who have the chance to promote you, open your emails. Tell us about it.
Well, yeah, this is what I want to share, and I put together a whole slide deck for us so we can kind of follow along. If it's okay to start and kind of pull that up.
It's amazing because you know what, 85% of the people learn better when they listen and they see. So I love slides. I'm extremely visual, so let's put it on.
All right, let's
make technology work for us.
Yeah, no, this is going to be easy here. And what I'd like to do is just kind of share how you can get more visibility and grow your business through media interviews and working with journalists and influencers who are online, like podcasters and big time bloggers. So as I mentioned, I was a reporter and, I've won a bunch of awards along the way. I've interviewed everybody from homeless people to presidents. And there is a way to connect with reporters, but it's a really kind of a dicey field, journalism and news regarding, how do you get their attention? What do reporters think like? That always seems to be the puzzling thing here. So let's see if I can. The key here is that we want to remember as business professionals is that our presence affects our prosperity. So if you're the best kept secret, it's time to let the cat out of the bag because you're in business and nobody wants to be a secret. We want to make money. We want people to be, we want to be creating that buzz and get people talking about us and referring us. So it's really important to make sure that we're visible, especially, today in today's, noisy online digital world where we're just, bombarded with so many irrelevant messages. How do we get people to pay attention and how do we rise above the noise? Because it does affect our bottom line and our paychecks every week. So the goal is to become what I call notable and quotable. People are going to take notice, the media, because the media, we have to think of it as they are the vehicle, they are the messenger to the public, to the mass. So when you're able to identify a reporter who covers your niche, you both have the same audience. You both have the same avatar or profile that you're trying to reach. Maybe it's working mothers, maybe it's sports coaches, maybe it's teachers, maybe it's other entrepreneurs or supermarkets, but you're both trying to reach the same audience. So you have that commonality and you share that audience that you want to get your message out to. So the media is the messenger for you, and that's why they're so important. So we want to be, I talk a lot about how to pitch your story and how to write pitches and email pitches and how to contact journalists and influencers. But it's not so much about a pitch, but we want to be seen as a trusted resource. We want to be seen as not a newsroom pest, but somebody who is, credible and has the expertise, someone who's going to be easy to work with, someone who's not needy, and someone who can, if the reporter says, send me, a link to your website or send me a headshot, and you send them, the annual report or, a case study, they're going to get pissed off, frankly, because it's frustrating. You're not giving them what they've asked for. So we want to be low maintenance. We want to be spoon feeding them information that's going to help them get their jobs done.
I would say is give them the food already chew, so they only need to taste it and digest it, and it's done. If you become, like you says, a source where everything is done and they only need to pick up your name and ask the question and you're gonna fix the problem, because most media now, they need to fit so many articles and things a day that if you become the ally instead to be making things complicated, I would assume that everybody wants you.
Right. And what happens is when you do become that needy person and when you send them a long pitch that doesn't make sense or is self-serving, which I'll get to all that in just a minute if you stick with me here, is that, your credibility just tanks. They're not going to open your emails. They're just going to look at this and say, oh, there's that pain in the neck who doesn't understand what I'm looking for. Or you send your pitch to the wrong reporter. If you're, in the education space and you're sending it to an environmental reporter or a sports reporter, it's not the right person. They're not going to say, hey, let me take a minute and point this person in the right direction. That's you doing your homework in advance and needing to prepare and knowing what you're doing instead of wasting everybody's time.
Great.
So again, to be a trusted resource and to be seen as that subject matter expert is really important. And the way that we do that is we have to answer the question. Like I said, I was in the newsroom for 10 years and got these crazy pitches all the time, these phone calls, and this was before social media even. So you can imagine how crazy and busy it is now. If we think we're overwhelmed, the reporters are, 100 times beyond that. This is my friend JP, who is a reporter for one of the business journals in New Jersey. Does he look like he needs more pitches or more stuff? He's got plenty of stuff there on his desk. So what happens when you contact a reporter, the first question that they're always asking in their heads as they're listening or reading your pitch is, who cares? Why should I cover your story? Why should I cover your story? And that's our job as business professionals or PR pros who are pitching the stories. We have to answer that question in our pitch, in our press release, in our note. I have to answer that question, who cares? Why should I cover your story? How does this affect my readers, my viewers, my audience, my listeners, the people who are bowling next to my dad, in the bowling alley in Lakewood, New Jersey, or the one who's driving next to my husband on, 281 and 410 in San Antonio. How does this affect people? So it's not self-serving, but, why should the reporter care about it? And what we have to do really is we have to show them that we're paying attention, that we're on the ball, that we're sharp, that we're paying attention to the twists, turns, and trends, which I'll get to also in a minute. So what we want to do is we really want to lead with news. What's new? NEW is in the word news. And we have to pitch passionately to reporters, because I remember years ago I pitched a story to Parade magazine, and the editor sent me this long list of do's and don'ts of how to pitch their magazine, and the last line just really stuck with me, and it said, please love your story, because if you don't love your story, we won't either. And I just thought that was so good, because, a lot of times, I don't know if this is a good story. Well, if you don't know if it's a good story and you're not enthusiastic about it, we know enthusiasm is contagious. So we want to have a good story, something with a fresh hook, a new angle, be a fresh voice that can contribute something meaningful to the conversation. Not just the old, this is kind of, it might be interesting. We want to make it interesting and be passionate about what we're pitching.
So basically, no copy paste. You need to do your homework in order to make the person that is the only person you pitch in the story, even though if you pitch in, like most people says, like they're sitting every morning when they having the coffee, they send 10 emails and like see what happened and they do the schedule. No, you need to put, you invest the same way you invest to put in your makeup and your cream in your face or shaving your face, the same way you need to specifically talk to the person that you're pitching your idea, not generalizing.
So glad that you brought that up, because we call that the spray and pray approach. Spray and pray meaning, like, you know, you'll send out your press release, and some, you know, there's a lot of companies, big corporations that do this, like, you know, social media monitoring companies that will send out, they'll promise you, they'll send out your press release to 300 reporters. But, you know, the pitch says, "Dear editor," or the person left and they sent it to the wrong name. And so it's just, like you said, a mail merge or a copy and paste. And then they pray that somebody's going to bite and actually run this press release. Instead, what we want to do is we want to build rapport, you know, build rapport and build connections and relationships, just like anything else. You know, in your neighborhood, if you wanted to ask your neighbor to babysit your kids for an hour, you know, you wouldn't just storm over there to somebody who you don't know, you know, who just moved in and you've never had any kind of conversation with, and say, "Hey, can you babysit my kids?" But if you go to somebody who, you know, a neighbor who you're friendly with and who knows you and knows your family and everything, and you would say, "Hey, can you do me a favor?" That's the kind of relationship that we're talking about with the media. So what do reporters and influencers want from us? They want things that are interesting. They want things that are intriguing. They want things that are concise. They don't have time to read, you know, a 2-3 paragraph pitch that's confusing. If it doesn't make sense, it's not, you know, they're not going to get to sentence number 2. They want something timely that's going to be relevant to what they're, what's in the news and the headlines right at this minute, especially with real-time social media, that things are changing awfully fast. And they want to know, again, what affects their audience? How does this impact people? So, you know, it has to be clear, concise, and compelling. That's what reporters want from us. And it's our job to deliver that. So is your message, you know, is it a mess or is it a message? Is it on target, or are you just kind of, you know, trying to nail Jello to the wall, as they say? So when you want to transform your visibility, the key really is to move from, you know, having that confusion and too much information to clarity and simplicity. You have a 7 or 8 line subject line in your, you know, email that's not confusing, that's not cutesy or self-serving, but you show them that you understand who their audience is and what they want from you. And I teach this in my online programs and classes, is how to really nail that subject line to make them curious and intrigue them to continue to read just one more sentence. So too much information is not going to fly here. If you have crickets when you send your email, and this is such a common problem. One of my coaching students just sent me a beautiful, actually, I'm going to show this to you. This beautiful handwritten note. I mean, these are rare these days, right?
I don't remember. I think really good friends that maybe I host in my house and like, "Hey, love, thank you very much for hosting me. The wine was awesome. The bed
Right.
smelled really good. See you next time and I'm in the city." But business-wise, I don't recall that. That is true.
Yeah, this is amazing. It's like, "Thank you for everything, helping me find my voice, my confidence, and my power." When I used to have send out press releases and pitches to reporters, all I got was crickets, and now I'm getting confirmations and interest and emails. I'm getting responses, and that's what we want. You know, sending an email, you know, feel like you're sending it into the abyss of the internet, and you don't know what you're doing wrong, but you're doing something wrong, but you don't know what it is. And that's what I help. You know, I teach you know, professionals how to structure the emails and get those responses and gain the trust real fast of the reporters and the journalists. Instead of, you know, waiting and hiding, you're building trust and you're helping other people. So that's what, you know, media placements are all about, because in the end, you know, it's common knowledge that when you have, say you pay for an ad, okay, this is what I'm talking about here, is very different than advertising or spending any money. I mean, I built my business 19 years ago on, you know, by speaking and writing, I mean, no budget. And this is called what I call maximizing free press. It's common knowledge that if you own a pizza shop, that if you take out an ad and somebody pays for it and people know that, they understand it, and you clip out a coupon, And at the end of the month, you have a stack of coupons. Okay, this was the ROI. I paid for my ad, and now I got some response. But people know that you just took out an ad. So anybody who has a budget or a checkbook can write a check and be in the newspaper. What I'm talking about here is free press, meaning that the reporters were they validated your idea, third-party validation or third-party endorsement. And what I mean by this is that the reporters or influencers thought that your story was so legit and so important to their audience that you didn't have to pay, that they ran a story or profiled you or showcased your business, in a print interview or a magazine article or a podcast interview or a radio or TV interview, that you didn't have to pay. And so the public sees that way up here. Your credibility is boosted up here versus the pizza guy with the coupon who actually paid to get in the newspaper. So that's what we're going for, is that free press and that credibility. That's going to be huge for business owners. So the 5 ways that I would share with you to get visibility is, one is to speak and write. Go to a Chamber of Commerce or a Rotary Club meeting or a church or synagogue meeting, and there's a captive audience of people in the room who want to know about your subject. So you're the expert. You walk in, they have the table set up and the technology and everything. You don't have to chase down people to try to get them into a room, or you write a bylined article as a subject matter expert. You can be a subject matter expert on a podcast or a Twitter chat. You can also, important to pay attention to your industry twists, turns, and trends, so that you show reporters that you're sharp, you're on the ball, that you know what's going on in the news and in the current events, and that you have an interesting perspective and you're willing to share your perspective and your opinion on something that impacts their audience. So that will position you again as a leader and an authority in your field. You can even, as easy as it is, donate a prize at a networking event. You go to a chamber meeting, maybe you have a book or you don't. You can buy a book at Amazon or, donate, give a $25 gift card for a restaurant or a bookstore and share it, because what happens is they'll announce you at the meeting. You'll stand up, you'll wave, but they'll say the name of your company and you'll stand out from the crowd. And that doesn't even take any media. That's just kind of some common sense and being willing to get in front and to stand out at a networking event. And then you can also, of course, video is a great way to build your credibility and get more visibility, because when you pop up on Facebook Live and you're doing Instagram stories and you're on YouTube, the video just really brings an opportunity for people to get to know you, to see your body language, to hear how you speak, how your personality. So that builds instant rapport, and that's a great way to grow your visibility and grow your tribe as well.
I think we can do a completely hour of live webinar on the point number 5. It started by myself, then I was like freaking out when they tell me, okay, you're going live. Like, nope, it's not going to happen. Like, yeah, you're going live. Like, I freaked out, and because I'm self-conscious.
Right.
But the good or bad news, as I talk with another coaches, they are amazing. They keep teaching me every day and says, you going to what, live? Oh, no. You're going to kill me or put a bullet between my eyes before I do that. And like, it's amazing. People who is really good in what they do, they're freaking out when they need to go live. I don't know if it's not the rapport or what happened, but they don't want to do that. They don't want to expose themselves.
Yeah, it's really interesting because there's so many people who are just like you say, I don't have my makeup on, my hair's not done right. And then, it's a lot of women, frankly. And then I'll see men who go on, they're unshaven, they're in sweatpants. They look like they rolled out of bed. One guy burped and he just kept going. He wasn't self-conscious.
Oh, inside the car. I saw a lot of videos on LinkedIn, guys with the phone inside the car, half shave with coming from the gym. Like, I hope I can do that. And I feel so comfortable. Is that hate envy you because you can do it? No problem. I'm so self-conscious. It's horrible.
Yeah, and it's interesting. That's what I coach people on, having that self-confidence to self-promote, to be real, that people don't expect us to be, showing up. It's nice to show up feeling all put together and feeling confident, but we can feel confident and vulnerable and balanced at the same time while self-promoting. And people, I think, appreciate that. They don't, they want to see real people. They don't want to see, that's why commercials and advertising have taken such a hit. Because people don't like one-sided stilted messaging. Everyone looks perfect, but that's not how our world is. They want to see, I got a flat tire, on the road, and here I am trying to change a tire or wait for the tow truck. and my hair is blowing in the wind and I don't have my makeup on and my shoes are untied, and just this is stuff that happens to all of us, and it makes it much more relatable.
I love it. I love the raw, real material. I like that. Thank you, Susan. So how we continue with this?
Yeah, the one thing that I want to just say to wrap up is that the next few months are prime time for publicity because of the holiday season. And again, knowing what goes on inside of a newsroom, there are windows of opportunity like several days before Thanksgiving and then Christmas into New Year's, where you can get a lot of press that might get ignored. Your pitches might get ignored by reporters when it's a busy news cycle, but we have windows of opportunity that are coming up, and I want to make sure that you're not missing them. I want to make sure that you're getting the publicity and building those relationships so that you can get this free press that I'm talking about. So it's really important to plan ahead, and that's what we're doing with this visibility class. It's the MVP, the most valuable pitch. It's a small group coaching club. It starts on October 7th, 2019. And there's a $200 discount here for folks. If you check this out on my website at sueyoungmedia.com, we have hot seats where we'll pull apart and help you dissect the press releases, your pitches, the ones that have gotten crickets, that aren't getting attention. Then we'll put them back together. I'll show you exactly the templates and the language to use so that you can pitch reporters. Plus, there's 2 one-on-one private coaching sessions with me so that we can work through any challenges. There's office hours every week. This is a dynamite program and very, very affordable for people who want to use these hot seats and get their pitches and messages responded to, build those relationships, those invaluable lasting relationships with reporters and influencers so that it's easy. Instead of you chasing them down, they'll start to come to you when they need a resource and an expert in your field. So check out the MVP, the most valuable pitch group coaching club. It's MVP that starts on October 7th. And I hope you guys can join me at sueyoungmedia.com.
I always says there are investment and expenses. Investing is these kind of things where, again, you can be the best in what you do, but if nobody knows about you, you don't want to be the best kept secret on the market, like paraphrasing what you said. So thank you very much, Susan, and we're going to have you back because I personally extremely self-conscious and curious about the subject. I don't know anything about it, and learning. I don't know if I'm doing this segment for myself or for others, but I learned so much at the point. Like I don't think I'm going to stop. Thank you very much.
Love it. Thank you, Susan.